You're live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's Voice to the World. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next hour. India and the European Union to hold a 16th India-EU summit in New Delhi to announce the mother of all trade deals as the two sides successfully concluded negotiations for the proposed free trade agreement. India-EU defence cooperation set to soar higher. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh meets EU delegation, says increased momentum will bring two ancient civilizations closer. EU Vice President Kaja Kallas calls it a milestone in security ties. US President Trump sends border czar Tom Homan to Minnesota as protests continue after fatal ICE shooting. Some federal agents to leave Minneapolis after mayor speaks to Trump. Trump says tariffs will rise to 25% from 15% on South Korean imports, accuses legislators of not living up to trade deal. Unbeaten India takes on Zimbabwe in their first match of the Super 6 stage of the ICC Under-19 World Cup. Ayush Mahatre's team aims to extend its winning run. Well, on to the top story at this hour. India Energy Week kicks off in Goa on 27th of January. It will bring together global energy leaders to focus on energy security investments and decarbonization. Tapas Bhattacharya reports for more.
The global energy spotlight is turning to India. India Energy Week 2026 kicks off January 27 in Goa, bringing together the world's top energy leaders at a defining moment for the global energy transition. The first major international energy event of the year, India Energy Week will drive conservation on energy security, big investment and decarbonization pathway, shaping the future.
India Energy Week, this time at Goa, is the most important event for the country. It honors our Prime Minister's vision for Viksit Bharat 2047, bringing all energies under one umbrella from the world over, whether we talk of the conventional energy, the sustainable energy, or any other types and forms which India today needs for our aspirational population.
With over 75,000 participants, 600 exhibitors and 120-plus sessions, the scale keeps growing, drawing ministers and delegates from more than a dozen countries, global CEOs, policymakers and technology leaders. 11 thematic zones, including nuclear and sustainable aviation fuel, will highlight Make in India's strength and India's net zero ambition.
From policy to partnership, India Energy Week 2026 places India at the center of global energy decision-making, driving the conversation on security, sustainability and growth. With camera person Sandeep, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from Goa.
And Union Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Singh Puri met UAE's Industry and Advanced Technology Minister Dr. Sultan Ahmed Al Jaber on 4th edition of the premier global energy event, India Energy Week 2026 in Goa. Well, in a post on social media, Minister said that India and the UAE have moved beyond a buyer-seller relationship to a strong strategic energy partnership. Two leaders recalled their recent New Delhi meeting during the United Arab Emirates President's state visit. A long-term liquefied natural gas deal was signed between Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited and Abu Dhabi National Oil Company in that visit. And India has reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to multilateralism and its international rule of law at UN Security Council meet in New York. Speaking at UNSC opening debate on Monday, India's permanent representative to the UN, Parvataneni Harish, said the country knows from experience that global challenges, that conflict, climate change, terrorism cannot be solved by any state acting alone.
This debate provides a timely opportunity to reflect upon some of these challenges, identify the causative factors, and explore the means to reinvigorate peace, justice, and multilateralism. At the outset, I'd like to highlight that India upholds the rule of law as a cornerstone of its national governance, enshrined in its constitution and reinforced through the independence of its judiciary and initiatives that expand access to justice. These deep roots of rule of law in India at the national level inform and guide our commitment towards rule of law at the international level.
While reaffirming India's zero-tolerance stance against terrorism, Ambassador Harish said entire Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir has been, is and will always be an integral and inalienable part of India.
Talk from the representative of Pakistan about the new normal. Let me reiterate again that terrorism can never be normalized as Pakistan wishes to do. It is not normal to tolerate Pakistan's continued use of terrorism as an instrument of state policy. This hallowed chamber cannot become a forum for Pakistan to legitimize terrorism. We will do whatever required to protect and ensure the safety and security of our citizens. Furthermore, Pakistan has no locus standi to comment on matters that are internal to India. The Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir has been, is, and will always remain an integral and inalienable part of India.
Well, Indian delegation led by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh met EU delegation in New Delhi. The delegation discussed strengthening defence ties between the two sides.
And your visit is very special, and it comes from the occasion of 77th Republic Day. The occasion marks a moment in celebration of India's constitutional journey and the reaffirmation of our commitment to global peace and security. Secretary, the sacred principle of democracy, multilateralism, and the rule of law support India's growing partnership with the European Union. Together, we seek to translate each shared value into practical cooperation on global security, sustainable growth, and inclusive prosperity. Especially the signing of the security and the business partnership between India and the European Union is a reflection of established trust in action. And it brings us together in an increasingly complex global environment. I hope the increased momentum of India-EU partnership in economic, defense, and people-to-people connect will bring the two ancient civilizations much closer.
Republic Day was quite an experience, so thank you for that as well, Your Excellency. I mean, it was so great to see, and I was so proud to see that also, our operations were part of this parade, and I think, it shows how we have been able to work together. Like you say, the signing of the Security and Defense Partnership is really a milestone, and we can build on that. There is so much more. Like you said, Your Excellency, that we can work together on the multilateral fora, but also bilaterally to develop the defense cooperation further. So I really look forward to our discussions today and further cooperation in the future.
Well, India's Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju has called an all-party meeting at 11 a.m. on Tuesday to discuss key national issues and legislative business ahead of the budget session. The all-party meeting is set to discuss the agenda for the budget session to ensure a smooth proceeding. Also, the budget session will commence on January 28th and continue till April 2nd with one break. The first phase is scheduled from January 28 to February 13th, while the second phase will run from March 9 to April 2nd. President Draupadi Murmu will formally open the session, addressing members of both houses of the parliament. The session will feature 30 sittings, with the Union Budget 2026-27 being presented on the 1st of February. And Pariksha Pe Charcha is back. 2026 marked a defining moment in the journey of the program as the dialogue truly went pan-India. Now, along with Delhi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted directly with students in Coimbatore, Raipur, Devmogra and Guwahati, bringing together voices from the east, west, north, south and the heart of India on one shared platform. This edition of Pariksha Pe Charcha saw over 4.5 crore registered participants. An additional 2.26 crore people actively took part in related activities. The total participation has reached over 6.76 crores this year. And under the 77th Republic Day celebrations, the Ministry of Tourism is organizing a 6-day National Cultural and Tourism Festival, Bharat Parv 2026, on the lawns of the Red Fort. The festival was inaugurated by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Union Minister for Tourism and Culture Gajendra Singh Shekhawat. Watch our report on this.
The historic Red Fort once again became a witness to India's cultural diversity and tourism potential. Organized by the Ministry of Tourism, Bharat Parv 2026 was inaugurated on 26th of January.
भारत एक ऐसा विविधता वाला देश है जहां पर दुनिया की हर विविधताएं भारत में नजर आती है और इसीलिए इस उत्सव के माध्यम से हमारी संस्कृति की झलक तो नजर आएगी सही, हमारी परंपरा, हमारी संस्कृति के साथ साथ हम देश और दुनिया को इस भारत पर्व के माध्यम से यहां पर विशेष रूप से आमंत्रित करना चाहते हैं.
Bharat Parv is the Ministry of Tourism's flagship annual event, showcasing India's rich cultural, artistic, culinary and spiritual heritage. It also promotes initiatives such as Ek Bharat, Shreshth Bharat and Dekho Apna Desh.
यहाँ आने वाले लोगों को भारत के बुनकरों का, भारत के शिल्पकारों का, भारत के हस्तशिल्पियों का, उनके हुनर का दर्शन तो होगा ही, भारत के विभिन्न संस्कृति के विभिन्न रंगों को देखने का लाभ भी यहाँ मिलेगा ही, लेकिन साथ ही साथ हमारा भारत जो विश्व में एक अनूठा देश है जहाँ भोजन की इतनी तरह की विविधताएं, इतनी विविध परंपराएं, वो सारी विविधताओं को अनुभव करने का भी यहाँ सौभाग्य उसे प्राप्त होगा.
The festival features an exhibition of 41 Republic Day tableaux. A total of 48 cultural performances by cultural troupes from states and union territories, the Sangeet Natak Academy and popular artists are being presented. In addition, 22 band performances by the armed forces and paramilitary forces, 60 food stalls offering cuisines from across the country, live cooking demonstrations, and 102 handcrafts and handloom stalls are attracting visitors. Bharat Parv 2026 holds special significance as it is dedicated to the 150th anniversary of Vande Mataram, a symbol of national unity, cultural pride, and love for the motherland. The entry is free for all and festival is open till 31st of January. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, in South Africa, Republic Day was celebrated with pride and patriotic spirit as members of the Indian diaspora, diplomats and distinguished guests gathered to honour the values enshrined in the Indian Constitution: justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. Let's take a look.
From New Delhi to Johannesburg, the tricolour rises high, a symbol of India's journey and pride, fluttering thousands of kilometres away as India's 77th Republic Day is marked here in South Africa. Republic Day marks the day India's constitution came into effect on 26th of January 1950, formally establishing the nation as a sovereign democratic republic.
On that day, our constitution was fully enforced. Bharat, the birthplace of democracy, was unshackled from the dominion system and our democratic republic came into existence.
में हम सब मिलकर अपने वतन से ये वादा करते हैं कि हमारा दिल और हमारी जान सब कुछ इस देश के लिए है. दिल दिया है, जान भी देंगे, ऐ वतन तेरे
In South Africa, the occasion was observed at an event hosted by the High Commission of India, attended by members of the Indian diaspora, diplomats and invited guests.
On behalf of all South Africans and the diaspora of Indians across the world, we'd like to wish all the Indians a happy 77th Republic Day.
Republic Day is observed annually as a reminder of the principles enshrined in the Indian Constitution: justice, liberty, equality and fraternity, values that continue to guide the world's largest democracy.
This is an excellent occasion to celebrate our country. We see the contribution being made by the Indian community abroad. We think and the country expects, and I'm sure that you will participate in the development of India and Viksit Bharat 2047, that is Develop India by 2047. A happy Republic Day.
I congratulate everyone on behalf of Armed Forces of India on 77th Republic Day. Let's all work together for a prosperous and Viksit Bharat. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
On commemoration of 150th anniversary of Vande Mataram song, we are going to present Vande Mataram song by the High Commission officials. So Sufalam, Malaya Shitalam, Shashya Shamalam, Mataram, Vande.
On the behalf of High Commission of India, we extend all Indian community in South Africa for a 77th Republic Day of India. We are proud to celebrate this moment here, and thank you very much. Jai Hind.
As India marks its 77th Republic Day, celebrations beyond its borders reflect the nation's global footprint and the continued resonance of its democratic ideals. For DD India, I'm Nazneen, celebrating democracy and Desi pride in Pretoria, South Africa.
Well, the Indian community in the Netherlands as well gathered to mark the 77th Republic Day, celebrating India's democracy, unity and global presence in Wassenaar.
India marks its 77th Republic Day. Celebrations are taking place far beyond its borders. Here in The Hague, the political heart of Europe, the Indian community comes together at a moment when India's global role is more visible than ever, economically, strategically and politically. Today is not only about history and tradition, but also about how modern India presents itself to the world. Republic Day looks back at India's foundations, but it also speaks to India's role today. In the Netherlands, ties with India are growing across diplomacy and trade. So what does this day mean for Indians abroad, and how does India see its partnership with the Netherlands? We asked India's ambassador, Mr. Kumar Tuhin.
Republic Day is a day of celebration because, as you rightly mentioned, this is the day when we celebrate the coming into effect of our republic and the democracy, all these great values that our nation instills in our people. This is the day to remember them and also to commit ourselves to realizing the vision of Viksit Bharat for 2047. With the India-EU free trade agreement discussions now coming to a conclusion, these will also give a fillip to the trade and investment ties between India and the Netherlands.
Republic Day is not only marked by official ceremonies. Here in The Hague, it is also a personal moment for many Indians living abroad. We asked people from the Indian community what this day means to them.
In the world today, and it is in this situation that
we celebrate our diverse nation and we are so proud of it.
Today, standing here in the Netherlands, the way we are celebrating and enjoying, I just can't express that in words. I'm so overwhelmed.
It's a feeling of sharing that joy.
From the official ceremony to the voices of the Indian community, Republic Day here reflects both pride and connection across borders. Mark Limburg reporting for DD India from Wassenaar, the Netherlands.
While India and the European Union together representing 2 billion people and 25% of the global GDP are moving closer to a landmark trade agreement. As global supply chains shift, India is emerging as a reliable and trusted economic partner. The India-EU summit on 27th of January could mark a turning point in global trade. Ajay Mishra reports for more.
India, the world's fastest growing major economy, and the European Union, a bloc of 27 countries together represent a market of nearly 2 billion people. As global attention turns to the India-EU summit on January 27th, expectations are rising around a proposed free trade agreement that could reshape global trade flows. Amid geopolitical uncertainty, India is increasingly seen as a reliable long-term business partner. After signing trade agreements with countries including Mauritius, UAE, Australia, EFTA nations, UK, Oman and New Zealand over the past 5 years, India is now negotiating with the European Union, its largest economic bloc partner.
भारत के लिए और यूरोपियन यूनियन के लिए एक ऐतिहासिक है एवं एक मील का पत्थर साबित होने जा रहा है। रिजिलिएंट सप्लाई चेन बनाने में हमको मदद मिलेगी, ग्रीन इनिशिएटिव्स में सपोर्ट मिलेगा और इसके अलावा जो इम्पॉर्टेंट इशू है नॉन ट्रेड इशू जैसे क्लीन टेक्नोलॉजी है, एनवायरमेंटल रेगुलेशन है, सप्लाई चेन है, इसके अंदर एक मुझे लगता है बहुत ज़्यादा मदद होने जा रही है।
Experts believe that the free trade agreement between India and the European Union will benefit all three sectors: agriculture, manufacturing and services. Indian agricultural and marine products may gain wider access to European markets, while sectors such as garments, leather, and light engineering stand to benefit. Pharmaceuticals, steel, petroleum, and chemicals are also expected to see improved market access. In 2023, India exported goods worth $76 billion to the EU and imported $61 billion. In 2024, India exported 37 billion euros worth of services to the EU, while imports stood at 29 billion euros. The European Union is still the largest trading bloc for India, and after the free trade agreement, India will start benefiting from the GSP, Generalized System of Preferences, under which no duties are levied on imports from developing countries into Europe.
पिछले कई सालों में जीएसपी के विड्रॉल होने के बाद इंडियन एक्सपोर्ट की जो कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस है थोड़ी सी कम हुई थी, वो एफटीए आने के बाद बहुत ज़्यादा ही हो जाएगी क्योंकि जीएसपी में जो कंसेशन था उससे बहुत ज़्यादा कंसेशन एफटीए में ज़ीरो ड्यूटी के कारण इंडियन एक्सपोर्ट्स को मिलेगा.
Now let's understand why the European Union is supporting a free trade agreement with India. In fact, amidst increasing global uncertainty, most countries in the world are emphasizing business relationships that are reliable in the long term. After supply chain disruptions during the COVID-19 pandemic and slowing growth across Europe, the EU is seeking to diversify trade and reduce dependence on limited suppliers. Amidst falling growth rates in Europe, the EU will find India to be its fastest growing market. Duties on wine and spirits imported from Europe to India may be reduced. European luxury car companies will also benefit from India's large market. Aircraft, diamonds, and luxury goods will find new opportunities in India. India has maintained that national interests will not be compromised in any trade deal. Safeguards for farmers, the dairy sector, and labor-intensive industries such as textiles and leather remain priorities. India has also raised concerns over the EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism, which could impact exports of steel, aluminium, and cement. Trade talks between India and the EU have been ongoing for nearly 2 decades. Officials have indicated that agreement may be reached on most chapters during the summit. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, with the finalization of a free trade agreement, India and the European Union have signaled their intent to deepen economic ties in an uncertain geo-economic order. Now, why is this FTA important, and how has the relationship between India and the EU evolved over the years? Jessica Taneja finds out more.
Amid a fracturing global order, India and the EU are aligning their quests for strategic autonomy and resilience, a synergy that positions New Delhi as Europe's indispensable partner in Asia.
भारत और EU की 2 दशकों की स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप नेचुरल है, ऑर्गेनिक है। इसके मूल में ट्रस्ट है, लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों में साझा विश्वास है।
With bilateral trade soaring 90% to $136 billion in goods over the past decade, and EU's foreign direct investment stock topping $140 billion, India may have found a hedge against tariff uncertainties while bolstering Europe's de-risking from China and Russia. India's business landscape now features far more European companies than it did a few decades ago.
One of the best examples of this partnership is the new Federation of European Businesses in India. It brings together 6.
And now let's take you to Goa. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the 4th edition of India Energy.
मंडल के मेरे सहयोगी, गोवा के मुख्यमंत्री, अन्य मंत्रीगण, एम्बेसडर्स, सीईओज, सम्मानित अतिथिगण, अन्य सभी महानुभाव, देवी और सज्जनों, एनर्जी वीक के इस नए एडिशन में गोवा में दुनिया के करीब 125 देशों के प्रतिनिधि जुटे हैं। आप एक एनर्जी सिक्योर और सस्टेनेबल फ्यूचर पर चर्चा करने भारत आए हैं। मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं। साथियों, इंडिया एनर्जी वीक बहुत ही कम समय में डायलॉग और एक्शन का एक ग्लोबल प्लेटफॉर्म बनकर उभरा है। आज एनर्जी सेक्टर के लिए भारत बहुत बड़े अवसरों की धरती है। भारत दुनिया की फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग मेजर इकोनॉमी है, यानी हमारे यहां एनर्जी प्रोडक्ट्स की डिमांड लगातार बढ़ रही है। इसके अलावा भारत दुनिया की डिमांड पूरी करने के लिए भी बेहतरीन अवसर उपलब्ध करता है। आज हम दुनिया में पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट्स के टॉप 5 एक्सपोर्टर्स में से एक हैं। दुनिया के 150 से ज्यादा देशों तक हमारी एक्सपोर्ट कवरेज है और भारत की ये क्षमता आपके बहुत काम आने वाली है। इसलिए एनर्जी वीक का ये प्लेटफॉर्म हमारी पार्टनरशिप को एक्सप्लोर करने का बहुत ही उत्तम स्थान है। मैं आप सभी को बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, अपनी बात आगे बढ़ाने से पहले मैं एक बड़े डेवलपमेंट की चर्चा करना चाहूंगा। कल ही भारत और यूरोपियन यूनियन के बीच एक बहुत बड़ा एग्रीमेंट हुआ है। दुनिया में लोग इसकी चर्चा मदर ऑफ ऑल डील्स के रूप में कर रहे हैं। ये समझौता भारत के 140 करोड़ लोगों और यूरोपीय देशों के करोड़ों लोगों के लिए बहुत बड़े अवसर लेकर आया है। ये दुनिया की 2 बड़ी इकोनॉमीज के बीच तालमेल का एक शानदार उदाहरण बना है। ये समझौता ग्लोबल जीडीपी के करीब 25% और ग्लोबल ट्रेड के करीब 1/3 हिस्से को रिप्रेजेंट करता है। ये समझौता ट्रेड के साथ साथ डेमोक्रेसी और रूल ऑफ लॉ के प्रति हमारे शेयर्ड कमिटमेंट को भी सशक्त करता है। साथियों, ईयू के साथ हुआ ये फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट ब्रिटेन और एप्टा समझौतों को भी कॉम्प्लीमेंट करेगा। इससे ट्रेड और ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन दोनों को मजबूती मिलेगी। मैं भारत के नौजवानों को, सभी देशवासियों को इसके लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। मैं टेक्सटाइल, जेम्स एंड ज्वेलरी, लेदर एंड शूज, ऐसे हर सेक्टर से जुड़े साथियों को भी बधाई देता हूं। ये समझौता आपके लिए बहुत सहायक सिद्ध होगा। साथियों, इस ट्रेड डील से भारत में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को तो बल मिलेगा ही, साथ ही सर्विसेज से जुड़े सेक्टर का भी और अधिक विस्तार होगा। ये फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट दुनिया के हर बिजनेस, हर इन्वेस्टर के लिए भारत पर कॉन्फिडेंस को और मजबूत करेगा। साथियों, भारत आज हर सेक्टर में ग्लोबल पार्टनरशिप पर बहुत अधिक काम कर रहा है। मैं अगर एनर्जी सेक्टर की ही चर्चा करूं तो यहां एनर्जी वैल्यू चेन से जुड़े हुए अलग अलग क्षेत्रों में निवेश की बहुत संभावनाएं हैं। आप एक्सप्लोरेशन का ही क्षेत्र ले लीजिए। भारत ने अपने एक्सप्लोरेशन सेक्टर को काफी ओपन कर दिया है। आपको हमारे डीप सी एक्सप्लोरेशन से जुड़े समुद्र मंथन मिशन की भी जानकारी है। हम इस दशक के अंत तक अपने ऑयल एंड गैस सेक्टर में इन्वेस्टमेंट को $100 बिलियन तक ले जाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं। हमारा लक्ष्य एक्सप्लोरेशन के दायरे को भी 1 मिलियन स्क्वायर किलोमीटर तक विस्तार करने का है। इसी सोच के साथ हमारे यहां 170 से अधिक ब्लॉक्स को अवार्ड किया जा चुका है। अंडमान निकोबार का बेसिन भी हमारी नेक्स्ट हाइड्रोकार्बन होप बन रहा है। साथियों, हमने एक्सप्लोरेशन सेक्टर में काफी रिफॉर्म्स भी किए हैं। नो गो एरिया बहुत कम कर दिया गया है। इंडिया एनर्जी वीक के पिछले एडिशंस में आपको भी जो भी सुझाव थे, आपने जो कुछ भी कहा, उनके अनुसार हमने अपने एक्ट्स और रूल्स में भी बदलाव किए हैं। यदि आप एक्सप्लोरेशन सेक्टर में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं तो आपकी कंपनी की प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी बढ़ना तय है। साथियों, भारत की एक और विशेषता है जो है एनर्जी सेक्टर में इन्वेस्टमेंट को बहुत फायदेमंद बनाता है। हमारे यहां बहुत बड़ी रिफाइनिंग कैपेसिटी मौजूद है। हम रिफाइनिंग कैपेसिटी के मामले में विश्व में दूसरे स्थान पर है। जल्द ही हम दुनिया में पहले नंबर पर होंगे। आज भारत की रिफाइनिंग कैपेसिटी करीब 260 MMTPA की है। इसे 300 MMTPA के ऊपर ले जाने के लिए निरंतर प्रयास हो रहा है। ये इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए बहुत बड़ा एडवांटेज है। साथियों, भारत में LNG की डिमांड भी निरंतर बढ़ रही है। हमने अपनी टोटल एनर्जी डिमांड का 15% LNG से पूरा करने का लक्ष्य रखा है। इसलिए हमें LNG के पूरे वैल्यू चेन पर काम करने की आवश्यकता है। आज भारत ट्रांसपोर्टेशन पर भी बहुत बड़े स्तर पर काम कर रहा है। LNG ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के लिए जिन वेसल्स की जरूरत है, हम उन्हें भारत में ही बनाने पर काम कर रहे हैं। हाल में ही भारत में शिप बिल्डिंग के लिए 70,000 करोड़ रुपए का प्रोग्राम शुरू किया गया है। साथ ही LNG के लिए देश के पोर्ट्स पर टर्मिनल के निर्माण में भी निवेश की अनेक संभावनाएं हैं। रीगैसिफिकेशन से जुड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स में भी आपके लिए इन्वेस्ट करने की बड़ी संभावनाएं बन रही है। साथियों, LNG के ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के लिए भारत में बहुत बड़ी पाइपलाइन की भी जरूरत है। बीते सालों में इस पर हमने बहुत निवेश किया है, लेकिन अभी भी बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए संभावनाएं हैं। आज भारत के कई शहरों में सिटी गैस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का नेटवर्क पहुंच चुका है और हम तेजी से अन्य शहरों में भी इससे जोड़ रहे हैं। सिटी गैस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी आपके निवेश के लिए बहुत ही आकर्षक क्षेत्र है। साथियों, भारत की इतनी बड़ी जनसंख्या है, हमारी इकोनॉमी लगातार बढ़ रही है। ऐसे भारत में पेट्रोकेमिकल प्रोडक्ट्स की डिमांड भी लगातार बढ़ने वाली है। इसलिए हमें बहुत बड़े एनर्जी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की आवश्यकता होगी। और इसमें भी आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट आपको बहुत ग्रोथ देगा। इन सब के अलावा भारत में डाउनस्ट्रीम एक्टिविटीज में भी आपके लिए इन्वेस्टमेंट के बहुत मौके हैं। साथियों, आज का भारत रिफॉर्म्स एक्सप्रेस पर सवार है और हर सेक्टर में तेजी से रिफॉर्म्स कर रहा है। हम डोमेस्टिक हाइड्रोकार्बन को सशक्त करने के लिए रिफॉर्म्स कर रहे हैं और ग्लोबल कोलैबोरेशन के लिए ट्रांसपेरेंट और इन्वेस्टर फ्रेंडली एनवायरनमेंट बना रहे हैं। भारत अब एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी से आगे बढ़कर एनर्जी इंडिपेंडेंस के मिशन पर काम कर रहा है। भारत एक ऐसा एनर्जी सेक्टर इकोसिस्टम डेवलप कर रहा है जो भारत की लोकल डिमांड को पूरा कर सके और एफोर्डेबल रिफाइनिंग और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सॉल्यूशन से दुनिया के लिए एक्सपोर्ट भी बहुत ही कॉम्पिटिटिव हो। साथियों, हमारा एनर्जी सेक्टर हमारी एस्पिरेशंस के केंद्र में है। इसमें $500 बिलियन की इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज है। इसलिए मेरा आह्वान है, मेक इन इंडिया, इनोवेट इन इंडिया, स्केल विथ इंडिया, इन्वेस्ट इन इंडिया। इसी आग्रह के साथ मैं आप सभी को इंडिया एनर्जी वीक की अनेक अनेक शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Well, you were watching live as Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 4th edition of India Energy Week conclave virtually, being held in the western Indian city of Goa. In his address, he mentioned about the India-EU trade deal as the mother of all trade deals. He said that it represents about 25% of the global GDP. He said that this trade deal will give a boost to manufacturing and service sector and will benefit every business. He said that energy sector also will largely get benefited. Prime Minister said that how a lot of reforms have been made in the exploration sector as well. Also, he said that investment in energy sector was very profitable. He also spoke about the refining capacity of India, which is increasing manifold, and India is a global refining hub now. Prime Minister also mentioned about India was also working on the transportation sector in a big way, and he also mentioned that India's economy is increasing manifold, and for that we require big infrastructure, for which India is working tirelessly. Well, moving on, India and the European Union will hold the 16th India-EU Summit in New Delhi today. The key highlight of the India-European Union Summit to be held in New Delhi will be the signing of the Free Trade Agreement. The agreement has several dimensions, one of the most important being migration and mobility. Watch this report by correspondent Akhilesh Suman.
A new chapter in India-Europe relations began when the President of the European Council and the President of the European Commission attended India's Republic Day parade on 26th January as chief guests and are now participating in the India-EU Summit with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. On this occasion, they will also witness the signing of the Free Trade Agreement, in which migration and mobility will be a key focus area.
This is a pivotal moment for our bilateral relationship with renewed political momentum and clear sense of purpose. Work has been coordinated and focused, and cooperation with Indian partners has been productive. Negotiations on the joint statement and the new strategic agenda have been driven by determination and understanding on both sides.
During Donald Trump's presidency, U.S. visa rules were tightened, scrutiny was increased, and limits were imposed on high-skilled work visas, restricting opportunities for Indian professionals. In this context, Europe is emerging as a more predictable and rules-based destination for Indian students and skilled workers, and is being seen as more secure compared to the United States. Under the migration and mobility framework, a structured mechanism will be developed covering legal migration, skills-based mobility, social security, and measures to curb illegal migration and human trafficking.
Now, the purpose of this dialogue is to facilitate migration and mobility between the two entities, because first, EU needs labor. EU needs semi-skilled, skilled, high-skilled professionals, and India has good, skilled pool of human resources.
By 2024, around 9.3 lakh Indian nationals were living in the European Union, a number that has continued to grow. Indians topped the list in the resident permits issued by the EU for studies, research, and other activities. About 20.8% of all EU blue cards Around 16,268 in total were issued to Indians. Over the past 2 decades, more than 6,000 Indian students have benefited from the Erasmus Mundus scholarship program. Sources say that after the FTA, the European Union will set quotas for students, researchers, and migrants, which will be distributed among member states. This will provide Indian aspirants with official information about opportunities across different European countries, enabling more targeted efforts for employment and education. It will also help address skill shortages within the European Union. Akhilesh Suman's report for DD India.
Well, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a raising of tariffs on South Korean imports to 25% after accusing the country of not living up to an earlier trade pact struck with Washington. In a post on social media, Trump said South Korea's legislature is not living up to its deal with the United States and that he would increase the levies on South Korea from 15% across a range of products, including automobiles, lumber, pharmaceuticals, and all other reciprocal tariffs. Now, earlier, the two countries had reached a deal on trade and security issues. Under the agreement, the U.S. cut its tariffs on South Korean vehicles, car parts, pharmaceuticals and other products from 25% to 15%. The pact also called for South Korea to invest $350 billion in several key U.S. sectors, including semiconductors, shipbuilding and biotech. Meanwhile, South Korea said it had not been informed about the tariff hike plans in advance. Seoul's presidential office in a statement said Trade Minister Kim Jong-kwon would head to Washington for talks on the issue with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Shares of South Korea's automakers clawed back early losses following Trump announcement on tariff. And in the United States, President Donald Trump sent his border czar, Tom Homan, to Minnesota in a bid to ease tensions over the killing of a second person by immigration agents. Trump said that border official Tom Homan will answer directly to him, a shift that suggests the administration is responding to political backlash. Now, most Americans oppose the aggressive immigration and custom enforcement tactics. Also, Trump spoke to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey on the issue. Following the call with Trump, Frey said some federal agents will begin leaving Minneapolis on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Grigory Bovino has been removed from his role as the commander-at-large for the U.S. Border Patrol. He will return to his former job in California, where he is expected to retire soon. And the demonstrators assembled outside Senator Amy Klobuchar's Minneapolis office on Monday, urging her and other Minnesota legislators to block proposals that would increase the funding for U.S. immigration and custom enforcement. Their protest came as Senate Democrats said they would not provide the votes needed to pass a $64.4 billion Department of Homeland Security funding bill. Current funding is set to expire after midnight on Friday. The deaths of Rennie Good and Alex Pretty in recent federal agent-involved shootings have sparked a large protest in the Democratic-run city. And students at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities walked out and rallied on Monday to protest the presence of U.S. immigration and custom enforcement and express concern about fear in their community. Students called for the abolition of ICE and gathered to hear speeches from fellow students on how recent enforcement activity had left many on campus afraid to leave their homes. Students organized aid for those afraid to go outside and monitored immigration enforcement activity on campus. All right, time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Moving on to some weather news now. A massive winter storm continues to grip the United States, bringing heavy snow, extreme cold and widespread disruption across multiple regions. Well, the storm has dumped large amounts of snow, disrupted power supplies and air travel and prompted states of emergency across the country. Washington, D.C. was blanketed with over 20 centimeters of snow in nearly 20 hours, with temperatures falling to minus 10 degrees Celsius. Also, the storm, which began on Friday and moved from the southern U.S. to the northeast, has killed more than 20 people and is affecting nearly 190 million people, more than half the U.S. population. At least 25 governors declared states of emergency and warned that freezing air and ice accumulation following the storm could prolong its impact through this week. And on some business news now, gold prices hit fresh record highs on Monday as investors sought safe havens amid geopolitical tensions, U.S. tariff threats and fears of another potential government shutdown. Gold briefly climbed above $5,100 an ounce before easing back, while Wall Street stocks edged higher ahead of earnings from major technology companies. Gold was last trading near $5,037 an ounce compared with around $2,000 2 years ago, with silver also at record levels. While you're watching DD India News, our time now for some sports news. India will face Zimbabwe in the opening match of the Super 6 stage of the ICC Under-19 World Cup on Tuesday. The match will be played at the Queen Sports Club in Bulawayo. India head into the contest in strong form after finishing the group stage unbeaten with 3 wins from 3 matches under the leadership of Ayush Matre. Abhigyan Kundu has been India's top scorer so far with 122 runs, while Vaibhav Suryavanshi has also impressed, scoring 114 runs with the ball. Henil Patel has led the attack with 9 wickets in 3 matches, supported by R.S. Ambrish, who's picked up 5 wickets. Well, India, the most successful team in Under-19 World Cup history, having won the title 5 times and will be confident of extending their dominance. Also, Zimbabwe, meanwhile, come into the Super 6 stage after suffering 2 defeats in the group phase and will be searching for their first win of the tournament. And top seed Aryna Sabalenka has reached the Australian Open 2026 semi-finals after a commanding win over 18-year-old Iva Jovic. The world number 1 defeated Jovic 6-3, 6-0 in a one-sided quarter-final at sweltering Melbourne Park on Tuesday. Sabalenka, champion in 2023 and 2024 and last year's runner-up, will face either Coco Gauff and Elina Svitolina for a place in Saturday's final. Now, the world number 1 closed out the match in straight sets, staying on course for a 3rd Australian Open title in 4 years. An experience and powerful game proved too strong for the teenage American. Also, the Australian Open has reached the quarter-final stage with top stars battling for a place in the semi-finals at Melbourne Park. Carlos Alcaraz has been in commanding form, reaching the last 8 without dropping a set. He now faces Australia's Alex de Minaur, who advanced with a straight sets win over Alexander Bublik. The Australian Open has traditionally been a tough tournament for Alcaraz, but a win today would mark his best ever finish at Melbourne Park. Standing in his way is home favourite Alex de Minaur, who is chasing history by trying to become the first Australian man to win the title since Mark Edmondson in 1976. And the fancied Indian Army team had to summon all its experience to squeeze past spirited Chandigarh 3-2 to keep their men's Khelo India Winter Games ice hockey gold medal at the India Stadium on Republic Day. The Army match winner came with just 3 minutes left on the clock, and the Ladakh leg of KIWG 2026 could not have asked for a better and thrilling ending. Well, Haryana won the team championship title of the Ladakh phase of the Khelo India Winter Games 2026 thanks to the 4 gold won by their figure and ice skaters. Well, also Ladakh, Maharashtra and Telangana each won 2 golds each, but was separated by the number of silver medals they won. Ladakh with 5 silvers finished at the 2nd place. Maharashtra with 3 silvers finished at the 3rd place, while Telangana with 2 silvers finished at the 4th place. And Kalinga Lancers defeated Ranchi Royals 3-2 to win the Hockey India League title at Kalinga Hockey Stadium on Monday. Alexander Hendricks scored twice, while Dilpreet Singh added another goal for the Lancers. Ranchi Royals goals came from Arijit Singh Hundal and captain Tom Boone. In the dying minutes, Tom Boone scored for the Royals, but it wasn't enough as Kalinga Lancers lifted the trophy. The champions received rupees 3 crore. Runners-up Ranchi Royals got 2 crore and third placed Hyderabad Tufans earned 1 crore. Tom Boone was the top scorer with 19 goals, and Hyderabad Tufans Amandeep Lakra was crowned player of the tournament, taking home rupees 20 lakhs. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.